welcome to Future Proof, a new series about how advances in science and technology are changing our lives and the way we do business. For our first programme, we've come to Hanover in Germany because it's the home of CeBIT and a chance to talk to some of the key people shaping our futures today. Coming up on the show. Are we ready for a robot society? The experts say we're on the brink of a new machine age.
I don't see so much difference between a human and a robot.
Who needs drivers? We talk about democratizing transport with the head of Volkswagen's innovation program.
It's going to be a great future. So my vision is mobility for all by the push of a button.
The startups betting on Bitcoin to make it into everyday finance. And how drones are attracting serious money and cutting costs in the oil industry. This really is a huge event with over 3,000 companies here, from tech giants to small startups. They're expecting around 200,000 visitors, and it was opened by some very special guests.
Some of the biggest players in technology, as well as startups hoping to become household names. Wall-to-wall ideas and the latest digital solutions from more than 3,000 companies spread across 18 huge halls. Over 200,000 visitors from 70 countries, all passing through CeBIT 2017. This year's event combines the mighty manufacturing and industrial powerhouse Germany with the king of robotics, Japan. Angela Merkel and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe took a tour in front of the best and brightest of techies and called for a global common technology standard. But politicians weren't the only crowd pullers here. Former CIA employee turned whistleblower Edward Snowden dialed in from his hideout in Russia to talk cybersecurity in a world where everything is connected to the cloud and how we're now in what he called a golden age for surveillance.
We have to change the game. This paradigm of being able to hack anyone, anytime, because it provides some investigative benefits, is ultimately harming the most developed, most connected nations in the most extreme way.
But for the exhibitors here, it's all about showing off their latest tech wares. It's what they call Industry 4.0, automated manufacturing and intelligent systems connected by the Internet of Things and cloud computing. And if that sounds like a lot of buzzwords, prepare for Society 5.0, a super smart world based on the kind of tech here at CeBIT, where almost anything can be digitalised.
One of the big things that people are talking about here is the future of robotics. They're nothing new. Robots have been used in place of people on production lines for more than 50 years. But there are people here that are saying we're on the brink of a robot society. And that means they may be about to play a much bigger part in people's lives. The Robot Society. If you haven't heard of it yet, you soon will, according to people on the ground here in Hanover. A world where robots help humans with everyday functions and jobs. Developers in California are already rolling out robots that could soon enter our daily lives. There's Flippy, who cooks burgers, and even a robotic barista who provides you with your daily caffeine hit. The star robot on show in Hanover is Pepper.
Hello, Pepper. Pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you. A humanoid companion who is here to aid us with a variety of tasks, including booking an airline ticket.
Thanks. Let me retrieve your booking.
Pepper's USP is that he, or she, is affordable at €20,000. And as robots go, Pepper has been a commercial success, with around 10,000 being sold since 2014.
You have Pepper, as I say, welcoming you in store, but we have Pepper now joining hotels as a receptionist to do your check-in, check-out, help you with your concierge activity, how can I book a restaurant, is for example on Costa Cruise boat, welcoming passengers on board, is helping them to navigate through the boat, is helping them to answer the basic question they're always ask to people: how do I connect to the Wi-Fi? How do I use the key to open my door? So all that repetitive task, there is no value that a human does it. A robot can do that correctly, is never tired, always happy, and do that with fun as Pepper is used to do.
Robots have been taking human jobs for decades, but now rapid advances in computing power, artificial intelligence and affordability mean they will almost certainly infiltrate our working lives more and more soon. And even innovators like Bill Gates have suggested that robots who take human jobs should be taxed.
Computers are going to go higher and higher up the chain. So, already, for example, some simple legal work can be done by computer. And you're going to see more and more so-called white-collar jobs that computers can do, because we are seeing greater and greater artificial intelligence.
German research organisation DFKI has also been showing how people are now able to control robots remotely using what they call a mixed reality system. They've also been working with Volkswagen on a project to find ways in which robots and humans can work together more closely by improving the machine's awareness of what's around them. While more of us will be interacting frequently with robots in the future, there are some who say that robotic technology has some way to go.
I don't see robots be or become intelligent at all at the moment, unfortunately. Unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know. I basically see them as sort of inflexible at the moment, but they can still be used to automate tasks, which is why they're used, for example, in the car industry, in manufacturing in general, very effectively.
So moving into a robot society might not be as radical as some are predicting, but several companies here are actively working on how automated assistants can benefit areas such as caring for the elderly, education and tourism.
Goodbye.
Well, I'm pleased to say we're joined by Hiroshi Ishiguro, who's Director of Intelligent Robotics Lab at Japan's Osaka University, and he's also famous for developing an Android version of himself. Many thanks for joining us. Now, you talk very much of a robot society. What exactly will that be like?
Robot helps our daily activities. Robot guide us in the stations, in the public places, and at home we're gonna use the more interactive robots, especially for Japanese. So we need to have some good conversational partners, English teachers, right, and elderlies and young children. So they cannot use the computers, but they can talk with the robots. So that is, my imagination.
And so interaction between humans and robots obviously fascinates you. How far can this go?
I think technology is available, right? If we carefully choose the situation and purpose, I think we can develop real applications. So now, honestly, we are working with the companies, more than 10 companies in our laboratories, and they are very, very serious to develop a practical application of interactive robots. So please wait a couple. Was just 1 year or 2 years, then you may see some big news.
Yeah, some big news. So how will humanoids and androids support future society?
There are many ways, right? So, well, for example, in an elderly care house, the robot can be a conversational partner for the dementia people, and in the public place, right, the robot can be a kind of interpreter. I talked about the Tokyo Olympic Games, so we're going to accept the more foreigners, but Japanese people cannot speak in English, in Japanese of course, right? Then we can use a robot for providing the communication service, for guiding the people.
The big tech companies are obviously looking closely at robotics. What is going to be the commercial success, and who's going to make money out of this?
Well, any kind of companies, I think, all the important role of a company is provide a good service for the people, right? So robot can provide some service, right? So I mentioned about the English teachers, the English training companies, they are seriously thinking about it, and some other companies who are providing some services to the children and elderly, they are also seriously thinking to use a robot. and the TV companies, right? So many the possibilities.
And of course, there are challenges ahead. What challenges do you see in the near future?
Well, probably the artificial intelligence. We need to improve the artificial intelligence technology more. It's conversational technologies. The software, our robot has just a simple function to talk something or recognize some words, but that is not enough, right? So Android need to have a much better understanding about your speech, well, for example. Then the Android can have a more the human-like interaction.
And as a final thought, where will we be in, say, 10 years' time?
10 years is enough for accepting many kind of robot, I think, especially in Japan. I hope we're gonna use more robots and for having the much better life, more safer, high-quality life.
So we're gonna have to get used to, humans are gonna have to get used to living with robots, essentially.
Yeah, I think so. Already that kind of things happens. Right? We are using Roombas. We are using some air conditioning robot, right? So they're gonna be more human-like, I think.
Okay, time for a short break here on Future Proof, but do stay with us, plenty still to come. Arriving now, the future of automated public transport, and for the people, VW's vision of self-driving cars for all. You join me aboard the Smart Shuttle. It's ferrying people around one of the main exhibition halls here. It's a very quiet, modern and electric vehicle with no driver. The autonomous bus that has got people talking here in Hanover, not just because guests are invited to go on a little spin, but because this driverless vehicle is actually in operation in the real world. Navia, a French company, are behind the project in the Swiss town of Sion. They've teamed up with public transport company Postbus to take customers on a pre-programmed 1.5 kilometre route, never going above 20 kilometres an hour. And crucially braking, thanks to sensors when something or someone steps in its way.
As you can see, it's smooth, fully autonomous. You can look for the driver, there is no driver. And it's not noisy, it's not smelly. We detect obstacle. Of course, if we have fixed obstacle, we stop. You see the people going out of the shuttle, but when they go out of the shuttle, they smile and they really have this positive attitude towards this technology.
Navia are also looking at airports, university campuses and business parks to roll out the Smart Shuttle. And they're not alone. EasyMile is a French startup operating this shuttle across the Charles de Gaulle Bridge in Paris. An autonomous bus that complements rather than replaces current transport systems. The company's targeting what they call the first and last mile.
This distance in between your house and the nearest public transportation hub can be sometimes like 1 or 1.5 kilometers, and you just don't want to walk these distances to go to the transportation hub. So what most of the people are doing, that they are using their own cars to travel these distances and to go to the office at the end of the day. And the reason why this type of vehicle has been designed is to complement the public transportation system by covering this missing link.
Self-driving in general is getting plenty of people talking, and there's some interesting collaborations out there. Intel have teamed up with BMW to provide the onboard computer that will power their autonomous fleet.
Nobody will be able to tackle autonomous on their own. It's going to be a partnership approach. And BMW and Intel, we have been a long-standing history in working together in the infrastructure perspective. We worked in Formula One together. And fundamentally, when we looked at the era of autonomous, we both agreed that this is actually such a tremendous opportunity, but also a challenge from a technology and also from an infrastructure perspective.
Intel clearly views self-driving as a growth market. They've invested greatly in the area, recently spending $15 billion to acquire Mobileye, which developed the self-driving software used by BMW. But there are still plenty of challenges to getting cars on the road.
You need low latency, high bandwidth connectivity, which is actually critical from our perspective that 5G technology needs to be essential for that car to be connected. Then you need real-time mapping. You need real-time mapping in the car, and you need high precision positioning for the car, because this car needs to decide within a few centimeters or inches what's going on around me.
As if to underline the point that there is still a long way to go, a self-driving accident involving an Uber car in Arizona created headlines recently. Police said the Uber vehicle wasn't at fault, but it was a clear reminder of the potential problems ahead. But that won't stop the tech and car giants pumping billions into the race to make self-driving vehicles an everyday reality. Well, many people here in Hanover wondering what's next when it comes to self-driving cars. Volkswagen, a number of the traditional automakers, putting a lot of focus in this area. I'm pleased to say I'm joined by their Chief Digital Officer, Johan Junvert, JJ, two friends. Let's start off then. What is the future for self-driving cars?
It's going to be a great future. So my vision is mobility for all by the push of a button. So ideally, I would love to actually give every person on the planet this little Volkswagen one button. It has, a cell network with a SIM card. It has GPS. It has a compass, and basically, all you need to do, push this button, and you will call a self-driving automobile to get to where you are, pick you up, bring you to the next door, and then you just walk out. It takes care of parking. It takes care of everything. And I think this is huge for society, because we give mobility even, to the children, to the elderly, the sick, the blinds. This is huge.
And tell us a bit more about Cedric.
Yes, Cedric. This is our first self-driving car. It actually is the abbreviation of self-driving car. And Cedric, we just showed it actually last week in Geneva, is the first vehicle out of our group, and actually the first of its kind by any automotive manufacturer, without a steering wheel and pedals, which you can call, by the push of a button. And it's for 4 people. So you can be, with 2 and then bring your luggage in, or you can be, with your kids or with 4 adults, and you just jump in, and you can own this vehicle if you want to, or lease it, or you can, just use it. And for that, we have created this vision because we made a study, even with blinds and also with elderly, which didn't have a smartphone or don't use smartphones. We want to include everyone, and that's why we came up with solutions like this.
And what else makes it different to your competitors out there?
So first of all, it's about timing, time to market. So my goal is in the next, let's say about 5 years, maybe 4 years, to be ready with this technology. So if it would be up to me, and if everything can be, made in time, including the regulation changes, legislation and so on, I would like to hit the market in 2021, in those countries where it's possible. Maybe it's the US, China, Singapore, and Dubai or so first. But we are working hard also here in Europe to change the Vienna Convention and get, legislations in the countries to be changed.
Okay, time for another short break here on Future Proof, but do stay with us. The new cryptocurrencies. Can Bitcoin speed up international business? And how eyes in the sky are being used to deter poaching in southern Africa. Hello again. There are hundreds of startups here showing their ideas to potential investors and customers. Katie's been taking a look around and talking to one of the founders of a platform that hopes to change the way people send money around the world by using Bitcoin.
Bitcoin was once seen as a mysterious cryptocurrency of the dark web, untraceable and used to buy guns and drugs. Now it's moving closer to respectability, and there are over 250,000 transactions on any given day. And there are more than $17 billion worth of Bitcoins in circulation. But the exchange rate is volatile. In March 2016, one Bitcoin was worth around $420. A year later, it had soared to more than $1,300, but has since fallen back to less than $1,100. And in spite of increasing acceptance, it faces competition from rival cryptocurrencies, attracting attention and investors' capital. Now, some savvy entrepreneurs are finding ways to drag those currencies, once confined to the internet, into the real world.
Where are you aiming for? What's the limit here?
I hope really big. I mean, we always hope that we're the next unicorn. I mean, that's a normal startup thing.
Fed up with how long banks take to make international transfers, startup Bitwala has designed a blockchain banking platform to make international money transfers quicker.
I'm logging into my account. Okay, then let's do €5. And I have my Bitcoin wallet here. So I have the QR code that is showing me basically your address and where the money goes to. So I press send.
Yep.
And then you see it's already confirmed. So
that money is on this card?
Exactly.
And I can go and use it anywhere?
Yeah,
At
sure.
a shop, a normal shop?
Yeah.
Great. Away from Seabit, this is Haven in central Hanover. The creators of this building designed it around the concept of Bitcoin, and they're in the process of establishing their own microeconomy with their very own cryptocurrency. It's a co-working space which houses Germany's only Bitcoin ATM and a cafe which accepts Bitcoin.
But what we're doing is we're building a decentralized organization. We're building the company of the future that will probably not be a company at all. And what we want to do with the cryptocurrency is motivate our members to do certain things.
He says cryptocurrency paves the way for workers to feel more like they're part of a community, to remove political or government barriers and create a self-sufficient and sustainable society.
It takes out the middleman, and all these new ideas are starting to pop up all around the world and are bringing blockchain technology into the infrastructure, into the real world.
But there are still legal and regulatory hurdles ahead.
Regulators need to be behind it, so people want to know that it will not go away, that they can continue to trade Bitcoin and exploit its fantastic advantages, for example, being protected from FX rates, fluctuations, or having some certainty that no government can interfere with the property they hold in the Bitcoin currency.
And back at Seabit, my Bitwala card is topped up and we're ready to spend. Thank you very much. We go from Bitcoin to Euro, and you get a coffee.
Drones are always among the most eye-catching gadgets at tech shows, and let me tell you, there are plenty here in Hanover. TV and film people love them because they get great shots without the use of cranes or helicopters. But they're also being used in industry and conservation and bringing huge advantages. The Brent Delta oil platform, more than 180 kilometres off the coast of Scotland in the North Sea. An inspection team launches a drone to carry out a survey of the platform's ageing structure. The remotely operated vehicle is able to get underneath the platform and take high-resolution images that provide vital information about its condition. It's a task that used to be done by rope teams operating in hazardous conditions.
We see this technology as it becomes wiser and it's able to sense and avoid and identify defects by itself, and the solutions will become almost fully autonomous. And the question then is not about how you fly and capture the data, it's how you process the data, how you present it to the clients, and how you add value to that information in other ways.
Cyberhawk has been carrying out this kind of work for several years, but it took time to find drones that could fly in high winds and which were reliable enough for the demanding environment of the North Sea. Ascending Technologies, which makes them, is one of several drone companies acquired by the processing giant Intel. It believes drones are an important computing platform for the future.
Of course, it's not only about drones. In the end, it's about the data. Data gathered by drones that fly very robust and very safe, and gather data with crucial information for the industry and for the development and so on.
Meanwhile, in southern Africa, fixed-wing drones equipped with infrared cameras are being used by the charity Air Shepherd to protect elephants and rhino. They can detect suspected poachers and then relay their location to rangers on the ground.
you've got to find a way to tackle the drivers, so that's local economic incentives and so on and so forth. But that stuff takes time, right? And if you do the math, elephants are going to be extinct in 10 years at current rates. That stuff is going to take longer than 10 years to work itself out. So while that happens, we believe that we are a very effective way to throttle this, to give other aspects some time to kick in.
Drone use is predicted to grow dramatically over the next 10 years. The White House has said that by 2025 it expects the sector to generate more than $80 billion in the United States alone. That's it for this edition of Future Proof. Thanks for watching and goodbye.